Right, Adele, here's a little horse Lola, but I'll just jump on her, give her a little ride around today so you can have a look, see at what we've been up to, see how she's going. I'm pretty happy with her progress for the length of time she's been here, and considering it's not something that I started from the very beginning. So in light of that fact that I haven't started from the beginning, when she first arrived I went back and checked on a few basics to see kind of what she has got on her and what somebody's taught her before, and like I say, just to check out a few things and then see whether I needed to add anything or reinforce already what she's learnt. What I'm doing here is just a lateral flexion exercise. I like to do it with all these youngsters that I get in. It's actually the first thing I teach them when they get halter broke too, and for sure the first thing I teach them when they've got a little snaffle in their mouth. The idea is that I can just take her nose to the side, put some pressure on her mouth, and for her to give to that pressure, because she knows that if she does give, the pressure diminishes or disappears by me releasing the rein. Anyway, just something I like to check out before I get on. She's straight out to stall. I haven't lunged her first or anything like that. There's quite a bit going on around the farm today behind the camera, so she might be a little looky. We will just have a look and see. One thing I did notice with this little horse right from the beginning is that she was pretty defensive and reactive to any type of pressure that you placed on and around the rib cage or the girth area or around just behind her shoulders. And when I say that, any amount of pressure, that could be just when you're brushing her or placing your hand on her, or for sure when I first rode her and I put my leg on her, she really had a good little bite at my leg and a little kick. So this is something I've kind of tried to pay attention to as we go along, to try and change her sort of thought on what that pressure means or what it feels like. You may even notice in this little clip that when I do put my leg on her, and in those areas you'll see a little tail going, and sometimes she'll pin her ears back, but I'm starting to get a lot less overreaction in terms of her wanting to, kick out at me and stuff like that. It's basically just her saying I don't like that, and that's her way of getting rid of that pressure. With that in mind, I've spent a lot of time with this little horse, placing my legs in this rib cage area and these hindquarters area, teaching her to yield off of them. We were just at the beginnings of that, but like I say, she's taking on board these lessons quite well. So I'm just going to go ahead and just walk her around and just bend her, push her off my leg, my inside leg at sometimes, my outside legs other times, and get her to yield different parts of her body. So like when I'm walking here, I might just reach down and bend that nose to the inside whilst trying to maintain some forward motion. And this is a bit like what I was doing in the beginning of the standstill. However, this is something she's got to do while she's learning to, or keeping her feet moving. So lateral flexion at the standstill. Now I want some of it while she's moving. It's pretty easy for a horse to give their body in body regions when they're standing still, but they find it more difficult to give their body while they're moving. So here, with that bend, I can put my inside leg on her a little bit, just get her to step over. So to the left there, just yield the shoulders a little bit there. Or I could take this bend, take my leg further back, take my hand further back and get her to yield those hindquarters. You can see what I mean by that tail, but nonetheless, there goes her hind end, and she's really swishing that little tail of hers, getting a bit reactive. This is exactly how she is at the beginning of the ride. So while I'm warming up, I just steer her around and change direction, ask her to move off my leg a little bit. So here it's the shoulders, I'm bending her nose to the right, but I want her to step those shoulders over to the left. Do it the other way a bit, so I bend her nose to the left here, step those shoulders off over to the right. So this is her yielding away from my left leg pressure. This is the leg she's a little bit better on. It's kind of indirect yield of the shoulders. While I'm walking around here, I might just pick up her face and just ask her to drop off the bridle vertically and keep moving a couple of steps. Just wait for her to give to that. And it's not about what it looks like, it's for sure more about what it feels like. So I want her to feel like she's invisible at the end of the rein right here. She's looking good and she's almost feels like there's no contact, a little bit of contact with my left rein here. Come in. It's going to be interesting. There's another horse coming in the arena to be ridden as well, so it's something she's got to get used to, obviously. She's been pretty good up to this point with the other horses in here. It's a really windy day. You may not be able to see or hear it, but it's some big hailstorms going on behind the camera. It's rain right now, but it could turn icy and get pretty noisy on the roof here. And the reason why I want her to get used to accepting me yielding her off with my legs is that, you know, when we go and play polo or do things like dressage or anything like these sorts of things, you're going to need to use to some degree your leg to redirect them, as I'm sure you very well know. So here, this is really nice. She's stepping around there because I took her nose to the right. My left leg is on. I want that left front to cross over that right front. In this case, I want that right front to cross that left front. Yield those 4/4 around. So while we're warming them up, I do a lot of steering. So taking a nose, direct rein to the left, indirect rein or neck rein, right rein under neck, wait for her to respond. If she doesn't feel like she's responding, I push with my right leg like I did then. She really steps the shoulders over. So here to the right, direct rein to the right, indirect rein, left leg on. She's really starting to move over quite nicely. I'm sure whoever gets to ride her after she's been here will feel the same thing. That's another thing she just did there. You mentioned that you weren't too sure about how forward going she would be when she first came. Yeah, she's not the most forward going horse. Like, see here, she cut out again. So I have to kind of push on her a little. Try and move her out a little bit here just to get these feet a little less sticky. And while I'm just trotting around here, there's no sort of correct or incorrect place in the arena to be. She's got a little bit of a fright from something there. I just steer her around and move her left, move her right. Like I say, there's no wrong or right place in the arena that I want her to be. I just want her to explore the whole arena. She's looking at something here. I think it's a little beacon that is on the wall here. Or maybe the rug in the corner here, I don't know. I think maybe the rug, who cares? I'll ride around here a bit more, just getting her. So what I was trying to say is, when I'm riding them around, I just steer them around the arena. Just work on that steering the whole time. So when I move my hands, she moves over. Move my hands, she moves over. If she doesn't move over and stay between those reins, then I'm going to start using my legs. I like how I redirected her then. She really gave her face. So there's rain's coming and now starting to make a bit of a noise on the roof. pretty cold day, so I'll give her a good warm up. Oh. Something that she needs to get a little better on is just reading my body. So when I sit down, having just been trotting and rising, she kind of decides to slow down those feet. She'll get it. Just while I'm letting her air up here, I'll just check this lateral flexion here again. This is really important that they get good at this. This really teaches them that basically I do the pulling and they do the giving. Right now I'm not driving her feet, she's just feeling that she's in a bit of a bind, so she's feeling she needs to move her feet. That's not what I'm asking for. I just want her to stand still and give me her head and neck. If she does, I'll release the rein. And this lateral flexion here is really the key to the vertical flexion. See lots of people trying to just get their horses to break in the pole, which is fine, they achieve that, but their horse's head and neck, or the neck sticks up, and so they can still use that against you. So what I want to do here is get a really soft here on these withers, which keeps this neck nice and soft. And then when you go to their face, you get the vertical flexion, but there you see how the neck drops. That's what I want. That helps them keep their back around. But sticky at their feet, not wanting to move on here. Get it to yield their shoulders. There, nice little back up and a turn on the hindquarters. Most of the training that happens with these young horses is for sure at the walk and the trot. But they don't know here at the walk and the trot, they're not going to get any better at the canter. So I want to make sure if there's any stiff spots or any sticky places or body parts, we get that soft right here, walking them out and trotting them. I know for sure I can make her canter and make her go canter left or right, but if I want to reposition her or shape her or stop her or, you know, get her off of my hands, if she doesn't know any of this stuff at the walk and the trot, she's not going to know how to do it when she's pushing more. Yeah, that's really nice, that leg yield right there. Little sticky on the right rein, or in saying that, she's really been good here. These little reverse bends really help get them to get good off these legs. A little bit of resistance there. In time, you know, I want to be able to side pass her, half pass her, all these things that people consider to be very dressage-y. A lot of people in polo don't think you need it. And that's mainly because they're in a rush to get that product made. I think if you've got the time, the best way to make one of those horses really good is to educate it like it could do a dressage test. Another little exercise I like to do here, also leg yielding, is just walk them up parallel to the wall here. Bend the nose slightly inwards, put my outside leg on, get it to move away from this wall a step or two. She's been a real baby and looking at something here. There. And come back down this wall this way. See if I can do it the other way. So yep, just walk along the wall here. Bend the nose slightly toward the wall, draw back on the rein, put my left leg on, see whether I can push her away from the wall like that. Another advancement of this exercise is just putting her straight up on the wall. Want to move her to the left or for my right leg, put my right leg on, leaving her hindquarters behind there. A couple of steps, same thing, just leaving those hindquarters behind. It'll take a couple of steps and take the leg away. Then just repeat. Put my right leg on. She's backing up here. Keep that right leg on until the movement's more sideways. There you go. Now I'm getting some steps without even having my leg on. to the right of my left leg. That was pretty good. Again, just getting her to move away from these legs. Same thing, she's getting really good at these shoulders. Just she's just sitting on my leg here a little, getting a little bit resistant. This is exactly the type of exercise where if I tried a week or so ago, she'd just kick at my leg. At least now she's trying. Oh, I like that. That was much better. Still leaving those hindquarters behind a bit, but she's trying. Right, I'm going to go move around a little bit. She's still a bit spooky with something down here. I don't know what's going on here today. Bit fresh there. Another thing that all this leg yielding really helps with is when you do these canter departures, you know, when I put that left leg on, I wanted to pick up that right lead. So in this case, like I said, if she was walking and trotting, I want to put that left leg behind the girth and her to engage those hindquarters to the inside and get step up and canter. Generally at the canter of these young horses, I don't really ask for their face to drop vertically too much just yet. I'm more concerned about, are they moving out? If I start going to their face too early, they may just like hands will be interpreted as a bit of a handbrake. As they get better at a walk, at a trot, then I might be able to do that. All I'm worried about here is she cantering at the speed I want and in the direction she wants? And I'll just work on the steering. Come on. I really like her canter. It's pretty polo-like. In time it'll slow down. Like I say, being so young, she needs a bit of push. So I just like to canter them around and steer. In this case, obviously I'm on the right lead, so steering to the right. She doesn't know how to do flying leads yet. Take in this nose a lot. I'm not paying attention today. Something in the arena that's bugging her, I don't know. Oh, I love how I pick up the reins there. She just drops her little face. No resistance whatsoever. Good girl. Just let it air up here a little bit. Like here, I didn't ask her to walk off, so I'm just going to take that nose and bend it. So what this does is say, I'm not trying to stop you from walking, but if you walk out, I'll make that difficult. She's got to learn, if I say whoa and stand, this is her chance to air up and only move when I ask her to move. What I really like about her is actually how chilled she's been through this whole process. You know, in the first week or so, you know, I'm going to be honest, she was a little bit of a challenge. Not because she wanted to be, or because she's a bad horse inherently. I think just because there's a few little habits that she had already got set in and got away with and found some rewards through doing. So we had to like kind of change those ideas a little bit. In particular in the stable, you know, she was a little bit of a handful in terms of like not really respecting your space, or if you went too close to her, she'd put her ears at you, and if you're trying to muck out around her back end, she may even have a little kick at you. You know, I see that in her temperament, and it is what it is, and I think you're not going to change that. I think it's more important to try and get control of it and channel it, and I think maybe that temperament will actually make her a pretty nice horse, and I really like her actually. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to make something of this horse for sure. So I love that. See how those left leg, when I put my left leg on, her left leg steps over like there, there. Try it to the left off of my right leg. I want this right front to cross that left front. She's just pulling on my hands here a little bit. So I think it's just paying attention to this other horse cantering around. I want this weight to get back over onto the hindquarters so I can take her nose and get this front end to roll over. Like what you would say a rollback, you know, quick 180-degree turn on the hindquarters. That's the basis of it right there. Gotta get this weight coming back onto the hindquarters here. She's just dropping her left shoulder a little bit. I'm gonna bring that nose around, get going the other way. So I'm canter here on the left lead, and I'll pretty much quit for the day. Got some other horses to ride. I'm running a bit behind, so we'll move on. You all right, Jeff? Come on. It's been a bit goofy around that other horse. I'll just bring her down here. Yeah, there she goes, just leaning on that other horse. Try and get her out in a bit more company over the next couple of days. Trying to cut out on me there. Whoa. She's running through my hands here a bit. Nice there, Wolf, she needs to get back. So here she's backing up, but she's kind of like pulling on my hands. Here she's much better. I want to be able to ask her to back up and then drop my hands, and she keeps backing a step or two. Anyway, it's just a short little insight into what we're doing with her. Yeah, she just walked off again. So it's probably not the best ride I had on her today. A lot of it going on, but I'm pretty happy with her. Like I say, she's progressing really nice. I'm really happy. It'd be nice for you guys to come up and probably have a look at her sometime. And you know, every day she's getting better and better, so hopefully she'll be even a bit more ahead. Anyway, like I said, I hope this is gives you a little bit of an insight into how she's going. See you later.